You know what? For a Sunday video, I think 2 requests might be the most I've ever got, so sure thing. Also, I'd like to thank Batman for submitting a script for this. I've not copied it word for word, but it has influenced the writing process of this video, and helps me to spot things that I otherwise would have missed. Disclaimer, this series revolves around criticizing things, and the fact that I'm doing that doesn't necessarily mean I dislike the thing. Thank you. Click below to watch the original Sins video, or to buy Steven Universe. So before we start, I would just like to address the fact that apparently the virtual celebrity, the person who created the original Sins video, was apparently harassed a little bit for it. So I'd just like to say that I actually quite liked this video. I thought it was funny. And I'd actually recommend you go check it out, because I think it's quite a nice new take on the whole Sins format of YouTube videos. The style of humour is quite different from what I'm used to in these kinds of videos, and I found it to be a refreshing change. So yeah, just to make it very clear, I have no ill feelings towards the virtual celebrity or this video that she's made. I think it's quite fun. That said, let's look at some of its sins. Taking intro inspiration from Millennimus. What?
27 seconds of theme music. Couldn't you have shaved it down to 3 like regular show?
This is one of my favourite themes, and also how dare you.
Look, I get you changed the title card for certain dramatic purposes, but I'm still sinning you for giving me, and I'm sure a ton of others, sudden heart attacks. I came to watch a wedding/invasion, not a horror movie.
Yes! Just look at the standard Steven Universe episode title card. It's beautiful and relaxing. There's a lovely beach scene behind it. It's symmetrical. It's gorgeous. And I could go on. But then when we compare that to the Reunited title card, well, the Reunited title card is ugly. Very, very scary. Ah! Help me, please. The background is black, which is the colour of eternal darkness. It's not symmetrical. And I mean, just look at it. It clearly gives people heart attacks. If you're not scared of that, there's clearly something wrong with you. Oh, and I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but major spoiler warning. If you're not up to date yet, get out while you still can.
Ha! Looks like Garnet was right. That razor did end up coming in handy in the future.
You've seen CinemaSins add sins just because a character is wrong about something. But now, watch Virtual Celebrity take that one step further in adding a sin because a character is right about something? What?
There's an awful lot of awful things we could be thinking of, but for just one day, let's only think about love.
Okay, cute song, really is, but there's only so many times I can stomach the word love. So I'm just gonna add all the sins here now for every time he says it and move on.
Yes, how dare a song about a wedding feature the word love multiple times? That's outrageous.
You know I've been hoping.
About what?
That everything's better now, everything's out in the open.
Rhyming hoping with open?
Well, if it works. Also, I'd like to point out that Batman, who, for anyone who fell asleep during the 2 minutes of preamble to this video, I'm sorry, is the person who submitted a script for this. In his script, he said, "What? You think he rhymed open with open? No, not at all. The lyric was, you know I've been hoping that everything's better now everything's out in the open. That's rhyming hoping with open. See, this is why you watch something more than once when you want to sin it. Ding. And normally I would just skip over a sin like this that I didn't want to include, but the irony is too sweet on this one, because actually Batman...
Rhyming hoping with open?
If you listen carefully to what she's saying and read the subtitles, you'll realise that actually she does know that that's what the lyrics are. And for some strange reason that I don't fully understand, she has a problem with those being the lyrics, but she got the lyrics right. So, Batman, this is why you watch something more than once when you want to sin it. Ding. Get wrecked. Don't worry, I still love you. But you are always the first one to point it out when I get something wrong, so
Bismuth, is that what you're wearing to the wedding?
It's the nicest thing I own.
Looking sharp.
That's the most obvious joke anyone could have ever made in that moment. Come on, Steven, expect more from you.
No, we don't. Steven's jokes are always terrible, and that's why we love him. Or did you somehow bismuth the terrible jokes in the last episode? Also, is it bad that I genuinely didn't register that that was a joke until just now?
This pit should clearly be filled up with water by now if this open water pipe is to be believed, cause Lapis has been gone from Earth for at least 2 weeks to a month. I'd also mentioned the missing mini pool that was made for Lapis, but let's do things one sin at a time.
You say you want to do things one sin at a time, but then you mention 2 sins within the space of 1 sin instead of just sinning both of those things separately.
What kind of temperamental wind current is this?
You misspelled the word temperamental in your subtitles, which, compared to some other Steven Universe sinners, and also compared to me, isn't that bad of a spelling mistake, but still.
What the hell could Bismuth possibly be doing up there in Steven's room? Although when you think about this whole house is Steven's room, so... never mind. Still sinning this though.
Apparently the virtual celebrity doesn't quite know what never mind means. The subtitles here say Steven room instead of Steven's room. Also, while we're on the subject of spelling, the spelling mistakes earlier in this video were on purpose as a part of the joke for like the 3 people who didn't realise that. Also, yes, I do know that the title card isn't symmetrical. That whole part was just a bit. You wouldn't think I'd have to explain things like this, but I do.
Really? Greg, Pearl, and Steven couldn't spring for new suits? On Ruby and Sapphire's wedding, no less? But reused their old suits from Mr. Greg? Psh, and they say Greg is rich.
Greg is rich. He just likes to live modestly, which I can respect. Also, are you telling me that even if you did have loads of money, if you're going to a wedding and you conveniently have just the right outfit lying around, that you'd still go out and buy a new one? Because why?
Haha, cool representation of bridal cold feet.
Hey, this thing is cool. Sin.
Flowers for you, flowers for you, flowers for you.
Wedding assault.
Wedding Commander, all flowers have been deployed.
Gosh, Ruby, cover up that skin. This is a kids show. Next you're gonna show us a gay wedding. Oh.
Nothing inappropriate for kids about any of that. I mean, I get that this is a joke, but still.
Ah! Nanafa's been abducted. Now don't panic. She was clearly seen not too long ago. She has short legs, so she couldn't have gone far.
See, earlier in the video, when I was talking about the virtual celebrity's style of sinning being a refreshing take on Sins videos in general, this is the kind of thing I was talking about. She points out a genuine continuity mistake and does so in a fun and charming way. It wasn't laugh out loud funny by any means, but I did crack a smile. And there are loads of moments like this one throughout the video, and that's why I like it. I get the impression that if Jeremy from the actual Cinema Sins was doing this one, he would say something along the lines of, Nanafois isn't there. Wasn't she there just a second ago? See, this is the problem with this episode. The people working on it don't seem to care. And that would really be it. I don't feel like he'd add any real flavour to it. Or if Brooks' show was doing it, he'd probably say something along the lines of, hey, Nanafoi's gone. She's probably snuck off to suck a dick. And then he'd somehow tie that to her race in a way that you're pretty sure he's joking, but not entirely sure, and there's enough ambiguity there to make you uncomfortable. And even if he is joking, it's still not great. So yeah, I'm taking a sin off for this.
Whoa, I came for a wedding. Did not expect a magic show as well. Steven changed bow ties quick, but swiftly changed it back in no time flat so as not to upstage the groom. Bride. Bridegroom?
No, just the bride. This is a gay wedding. They're both brides.
What's really impressive here is a 14-year-old officiating a wedding, even though a bill was introduced in legislature to set the minimum age of wedding officiants to 18.
It's a wedding between 2 aliens who aren't even citizens on any country on Earth. I honestly doubt that anything here is recognized by law.
Really, Jenny? You wore that to a wedding? Attention hog!
Ronaldo, as well as Bismuth, both come to this wedding in a full suit of armor, but this is where you draw the line. A top with transparent sleeves.
Scene does not contain a lap dance. Scene really doesn't contain a lap dance.
Hey, come on, even Jeremy knew to retire that joke. And he still thinks that endlessly referencing the Prometheus school of running away from things is funny.
So is Onion an overgrown toddler or an undergrown child?
No, he's an avatar controlled by White Diamond. Have you not read the theories?
But wait, Bismuth was just with Ronaldo 1 second ago.
Yeah, is this not like a montage?
Nice try, writers. Great comedic timing, but if that thing went as high as it did, then it would have fallen down to earth in a fiery death ball.
I was totally ready to accept that sin if you'd said something along the lines of, if that went as high as it did, there's no way it would land anywhere nearby. But then you went ahead and said it would land in a fiery death ball, which, no, there's way too much air resistance on an object like that for it to reach those kinds of speeds.
Honey's parents just run away and left their 13-year-old daughter behind. I know she told them she's been training and doing gem stuff, but after her going missing on Jungle Moon, you'd think her Asian parents would be hauling her ass with them as they run for cover.
I definitely don't see how them being Asian is relevant there. They could be from anywhere. I'm pretty sure most parents wouldn't want their kid to be present during an alien invasion. But good Asian parents are uptight joke, I guess.
So you're telling me while Steven was briefing Bismuth about Rose being pink diamond, he happened to forget to mention the cluster as well?
Yes, because those two things are in no way whatsoever relevant to one another.
Okay, I know Steven said you could drop the barn on the beach, but he didn't mean it so literally, Lapis.
Yes, that was the joke they were going for here. Thank you for pointing that out.
I've felt worse.
Yep. Also, I'm just gonna have to pause to praise this episode for a second because, this part is so good. I honestly think that very few villains have the on-screen presence that the Diamonds do, and a lot of that is down to the soundtrack. I mean, of course, a lot of it is also due to the really good writing, but I do want to praise the soundtrack as well because it just gives such a sense of power behind Blue Diamond. Those swelling chords just fill the room and really give you a sense of drama behind her presence. You really feel like Blue Diamond is an ancient, incredibly powerful being, and I can't think of many other shows that just pull off atmosphere this well.
Wait a minute. Garnet is clearly seen jumping before Connie and Lion, but attacks after they do. Even though the attack would have been much more effective if Garnet had gone first, Blue would have surely tripped backwards.
I don't see how them changing the order in which they attacked would have made any difference, and also Blue does fall down, so I don't see what your problem is here.
The house!
Don't worry, I can fix it.
My dad!
I'd remove more scenes if he actually got injured.
Whoa!
They just had to drag Goku into this, didn't they?
This show, that show.
This is obviously gonna haunt some kids' nightmares.
Between this and you sinning the title card for being too scary, I genuinely don't think you've ever seen anything actually scary.
Blue and Yellow Diamond aren't translucent in this shot.
Actually, they specifically are, and if you had eyes, you would be able to see that.
Rudy. Nenefoa.
Just reading the credits is an interesting take on sinning. So the sin total was 27, and the punishment will be, I don't know, something really, really, really scary, like a small dog. Anyway, let's do a quickie review, because why not? It's not like I've got to upload this video in like half an hour. I've got time for this. It was so good. It was so good. Yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up, but I'll go a bit more in depth. I didn't get any spoilers for this episode or read any theories or anything like that. I didn't even watch the trailer. In fact, I didn't even know the Diamonds were going to show up, so this blew me away. I really did think it was just going to be a cute little wedding episode, which it was for like the first few minutes, but when the Diamonds arrived, wow, it felt like an event. It really did feel like things had been building to this confrontation for so long, and I loved it. It was a high-stakes episode and it really felt like one. And hey, actually, it might have been because it might have changed the entire dynamic of the show. We don't know how things are gonna go after this. So yeah, just colour me impressed, honestly. The wedding was genuinely really sweet and there were some really funny moments from Peridot and Ronaldo. And then after that, everything was dialed up to 11 and I was on the edge of my seat the whole way through. I think despite that huge number of continuity mistakes, everyone involved deserves huge props for this. It's rare that a TV show gets me this invested. Those were just my thoughts though, I'd love to know what you think. But now, an end segment. So, in my Q&A, I asked you to ask me questions about Steven Universe, my opinions on it and so on. I didn't expect to get that many, and yeah, I didn't. I got 2 questions that were specifically about Steven Universe, and I'm going to answer them both right now. Batman asks, do you think Rose Quartz is a bad person? No, I don't. I think she must have grown up incredibly entitled, and you can see that from the way she acts when she doesn't have a colony in the flashback from Jungle Moon. But I don't think that's her really being a bad person, so to speak. I think that's just her having no knowledge of what the world is actually like. As far as she's concerned, what people like her do is make colonies, and that's just the right thing to do. As soon as she actually gains experience of the real world, she turns against that very quickly and starts looking out for the interests of humans. I think that when she was a diamond demanding Earth, her main issue was ignorance rather than being a bad person. I think later on it's definitely arguable she has some issues, especially with all the lying, but considering the position she's in, it's definitely understandable why she does it, even if other people wouldn't personally do that themselves. Batman also asks, which Steven Universe character do you envision yourself being able to hang with? I really want to say Garnet, but I'm willing to accept the answer is probably Peridot. Either way, I reckon I'd have a great time hanging with either or both of them. And the final question is from Catastrophic Eye, who asks, what do you think of White Diamond? I love her, and I love the fact that I'm already scared shitless of her. Also, I subscribe to the theory that she's going to try and take out Steven's gem. And I've never been able to guess what's going to happen in this show before, but if I had to guess, I'd say that White Diamond is going to manage to take the gem out of Steven, and we'll end up learning what happens to Steven when he's poofed, but I don't know. I honestly really don't know. Anything could happen. But back to the question, yeah, she has an amazing presence, like all of the other diamonds do. I'm already really intrigued and can't wait to learn more about her character and her pearl. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you left a question about Steven Universe and I missed it, that's entirely possible, I'm sorry. But if you ask it me again, I'll be sure to cover it next time I do this. Just be sure to leave your questions with hashtag Steven Universe somewhere in the comments. Also, if you like Steven Universe Sin Sins, I've made a playlist of all of my Steven Universe Sin Sins videos which I've linked on screen now. I hope you've enjoyed this, goodbye.